Hi everyone and welcome back. In today's video I'm going to be doing a mixed media art journal page tutorial, and I'm going to be walking you through how I created this double page spread in my art journal. And I'm going to be using the Take 5 prompts for the month of September. So if you'd like to join in with this challenge and create your own art journal page using these prompts to kickstart some creativity and some inspiration, then please feel free to do so. I'll leave links to all the ladies that are part of the collaboration group, and if you'd like some further inspiration for how every one of us has interpreted these prompts, then you can check out their videos in the description box below. And I'll also leave a written list of the 5 prompts for this month, and all you need to do is use these 5 prompts in your own art journals to inspire your pages, and they're just a way of kickstarting some creativity. And there's a hashtag you can use as well on social media. You can tag your finished pages too if you join in, and that way we can all see your work. And I'd love to see what you guys create if you'd like to join in, and you have the whole of September to work on these prompts. That out the way, I'm now starting on my page. So the 5 prompts for this month were map, add an element from nature, add a picture, music sheet, and green. And I'm starting with the prompt map. Now I don't have any maps like you would have when you go travelling around to cut up, but I did have this pad of pattern paper that I've had for about a year or so. I've actually used it in a couple of other projects in videos on the channel, and it's full of these sort of vintage style maps, and I thought this would be perfect. So what I did was I took out a couple of different pages and I've ripped them up. And I've ripped them up because the 6x6 papers don't fit very well on this size of art journal, and I didn't want to just have one bold image in the background. I wanted to create a collage, so I just tore the paper into strips and then alternated the 2 different designs, and then I just cut up some other little bits of paper. I think these had sort of like train tickets on them, printed on them, and I just glued them down into the empty spaces. Now I didn't want it to look uniform or perfect, but I did want to have a little bit of interest, and I wanted the page to have a map vibe. You can see that the images are maps, but it's not too distracting, and I didn't want it to distract from the foreground elements, so that's one of the reasons why I cut up the papers and created a collage. So now I'm adding a couple of different distress inks on top, and I'm doing this to sort of just blend all the papers together, to tone the background down a little bit and to make everything uniform. Now all these papers came from the same pad of pattern paper, and so all the colours went really well together. If you buy pattern paper in kits or in pads from one designer, then the designer has normally picked a really cohesive colour scheme, so you don't have to worry about matching papers. But it is nice to, when you're doing a background like this, sometimes to wash a colour over it with inks or watercolours, just to help everything tie together. And now I'm adding a little bit of gesso with a dry paintbrush, a dry fan paintbrush, and just brushing it across the page. This is something that you'll often see me do with backgrounds, and this again just tones the background down a little bit and just helps the foreground elements to stand out of the background, because I want the background to be visible. I want it to look really interesting and textured. I don't want it to overpower the foreground images, so using the white gesso really helps to tone down the background. Now I'm working on the prompt, the music sheet prompt, and you don't have to do these prompts in order, by the way. You can you can pick and choose when you add the different prompts in. The idea is just to use the prompts to inspire you to create a page and to use all 5 of the prompts. So I didn't have any music sheets to cut up, but I did have a music sheet stamp, so I used that in the background. And then I took some brown ink and I've smudged that round the outside because the page had a bit of a vintage feel, and I also wanted to give the double page spread a bit of a border, and just smudging black ink around the outside helps that. And now I have a few of the other foreground elements and focal points that I want to add. I have a collage card here. I have a small journaling card that says class in session, which I felt fitted the page because it had a a retro feel to it, and also it was green, and we are in back to school season, so I thought it was a nice thing to add. And then I have some green leaves. Now the collage card and the green leaves are available as printables in my Etsy shop. There'll be links in the description box below. And the little journaling card came from a sheet of pattern paper that I bought years ago. I have quite a few of these journaling cards, and they're very fun to use as focal points for art journaling and card making. So I've matted the collage card onto some green card, and again I like to mat things with coloured cards or white card to help them to stand out a bit from the background, and just to add an extra layer to the design. And the prompts that I'm using here, I'm using the green prompt. The leaves are green, the journaling card is green, and then the last two prompts are add an element from nature, so I added the leaves, and add a picture. And I didn't have a photo to add, but I thought that the collage card could kind of look like a photo. If this was a photo of this stylized cartoony girl, then it could kind of count as that prompt. And that's what's nice about using prompts. You can kind of use them with whatever supplies you have on hand and interpret them in the way that you want. And that's why it's also quite fun watching other people's interpretation of these same 5 prompts, because everyone always comes up with things that are so different. So now I've glued everything down, and I always play around quite a bit with the layout on these pages to kind of see how I want things. And I'm going over the girl here with a few coloured pencils, partly because I smudged a bit of brown ink onto her face. Before I glued the collage card and the journaling card down, I took a little bit of that brown ink and went round the edges of the cards, just to again tie the cards into the background and to add a little bit of grunge to them. But it went onto her face and I didn't like that, so I used the coloured pencils to colour over that, and that worked really well. And now I'm just going in and I'm adding a little bit of a drop shadow with a black coloured pencil. And at this stage I'm just kind of fiddling, seeing what I can add that won't detract from the page, but will help to help certain things stand out. And I just kind of fiddle around until I'm happy. And I also added some Nuvo drops. And Nuvo drops is a 3-dimensional paint, and you can use them to create these 3-dimensional they're like little raised drops on your page, and they're really fun to use. And I've only got 2 colours of the Nuvo drops because I wanted to test them. I bought an orange and then this slightly transparent purpley colour, and they're really, really good. They make these lovely little 3-dimensional drop embellishments on my pages, and I've been using them quite a bit for card making recently. So yes, I've really been enjoying using those, and I think I'll have to get a couple new colours, I think. So anyway, that's my page for the Take 5 collaboration for September. If you use these prompts yourself to create your own art journal page and you post it online, make sure you use the hashtag so we can all see it. And I'd love to see what you guys create. There were some really lovely pages created last month using the prompts, and I look forward to seeing what you guys come up with in September. So that was my mixed media page for this month. I hope you've all enjoyed the tutorial. Make sure you leave any questions you have in the comments down below, and I will see you again next time.